Hello, welcome to another video. In this video, I want to show you some of the pens that I use for lettering, but also I want to show you what's the one pen, the one type of pen that you should absolutely get to make amazing letterings. And it's just one pen, it's very easy, you can find cheap alternatives out there. And this pen is going to help you as a beginner to get comfortable with your lettering, to draw letters better. And also, you don't have to worry about getting various types of pen. With just this one pen that I think is the best for you to start and not feel frustrated with the results, you're gonna get a very good kickstart in lettering. So, first of all, I'm gonna show you some of my brush pens, and these ones are the ones that I use more often. I have this unit pen brush, and it's a small tip brush. It's a really small tip brush, and I like to make some brush scripts with it because it's really precise and I have more control over this tip than I have over those two tips here that are a little bit bigger, a lot bigger actually, and they are really hard to control. But this one is pretty easy. I can easily go thin up and thick down, and it's really easy to control. I can get a lot of contrast and I don't have to do much because the tip it's just great, you know. So that's my first one, and this was actually the first brush pen that I got. It's not the first pen, it's the first brand that I got because I just wanted to try brush pens, and this one seemed like a good option because, as I said, the small tip it's a good start for you if you wanna try brush lettering because you can control it better. Usually with small pens, small tips, you can control it a lot better. And then I got this Pigma brush a lot later. And the tip it's a lot bigger, and it's a lot harder to control too, but I can get a even higher contrast between the thin and the thick stroke, and I do love it, but I think it's not the best pen to a beginner to start. But you now know which one I use. And this one is a Faber-Castell Super Soft, which I have quite a few more colors. They came in a pack of 6, so I have this pastel pack, and I'm gonna just show you with this one. Even though this one has a big tip, it's not that hard to control. I quite like this tip. So I always use this in some letterings, but not that much, more for coloring or to make shadows because these pastel pack is they are really pastel, really smooth, really clear. It's not that easy to see it on a paper, so it's more for some details. I do have a few other brush pens, like I have a metallic pack from Cis. Those 3 are the ones I like to use. But I just use that in envelopes or when I'm sending letters or making cards for gifts because the metallic shimmer is awesome for those things. And they have a little high contrast, a lot of contrast between the thin and the thick stroke. So yeah, those are other brush tips that I use. I also have these really cheap ones that I got just to start practicing brush lettering a long time ago, and they are quite good, I would say, for a cheap pack. As you can see, I can get good contrast. So you can start practicing with cheap pens. Just look for a cheap pack and start practicing with it. This one was really good and it got me started in brush lettering. So I really like it. But the brush pens are a level up. I wouldn't recommend you to start with brush pens, or at least not with big tip brush pens. Maybe you wanna get this one or something with a small tip to start and have more control over your strokes. But for lettering, for actually drawing letters and not just, brush lettering it, to draw block letters and serif letters and decorative and creative letters, I would recommend you use a fine liner. And that's my biggest recommendation of the day. For a good lettering, for a great lettering, you just need one fine liner. And I've got here some of the ones that I like to use, so you can see and maybe choose one that you like among the ones that I use. But it's important to know that there are fine liners that are very expensive, there are the ones that are really cheap, and there are the ones that fall in the middle of this range. And I have quite few of each one. I'm gonna show you. So this one, it's a really cheap one. I don't even remember the brand, but here. I think this one is a 0.4 and it writes very well. And then I have a Stabilo marker, Stabilo fine liner, which does basically the same. It's just a little bit expensive, more expensive than the other one, but it's really similar. I just like that the Stabilo one, the ink is a little bit more black than the first one. So that's the only thing. But as a beginner, this one served me very well. So I do recommend you start with that. And I have a few gel pens with a fine tip. So this one is really great. And gel pens are awesome because they write very smoothly. And I like it because my hand just flows through the paper. I don't have to worry because my pen is gonna get stuck in some part of the paper. Like usually it happens for me at least with ballpoint pens. So I don't really like lettering with ballpoint pens, although you can do that, and I've done that and I've seen people do amazing things with them. I just don't like the feel of using them, so I just don't use them very often. This other one is Telibra Flow in a 0.5. It's also a gel pen that I really like, and it's even more smooth than the other one. I also have this one that I bought from a store in China, and also gel pen. I think gel pens are great alternatives for fine liners because in my experience they are a lot cheaper than most fine liners that are out there, and they write very well, the ink flows nicely, the lines are great, so I would recommend you start with a gel pen. And this one is like of the same family of this brush that I showed you earlier. It's a Unipin in 0.4, and I have more fine liners like this in other ranges. Like I have a 0.1 and a 0.05 and a 0.83, and I have a lot of them. But I started with one just like this one, a 0.3 actually. This one is a 0.4, but I started with a 0.3. And see, you have great lines and really black, nice ink. I recommend you getting one fine liner and use that to practice your letters, to improve your lettering, because you don't need more than that. And I'm gonna show you some of the letterings that I did only using a fine liner and a few colors that I have laying around. So beside the color that is on the paper that I did with some paints that I have around, everything else, everything in black actually was made with a fine liner. This one in particular was made with this fine liner right here, this 0.4. And I have a few others in here. Oh, this one is great. Again, besides the color, this one was made with fine liners, and I did it was not actually a fine liner. It was this Stabilo pen that has a large tip. It's not a fine liner, but it's just one pen, and one it's not really expensive, not that expensive, and I did the whole page with it. Just the colors that I used, some pencils that I had laying around, but even without color it looks good. Let me see another one that I have here. Oh yeah, this one. This one I did completely using, again, this fine liner right here. Completely done with that. And all the black it's from it, just the color that I took, again, another thing that I had laying around, just to give a pop of color in it, but even without it, it looks good, you know? So yeah, everything with just one fine liner, you can do it. And let me see if I have something else. Yeah, this one was also made with just this fine liner right here, and later I added color. So, but all the lines, all the strokes, all the, even this fake brush fill I did with this one. And also one of my most recent ones, also made with one fine liner, and this one I actually made with the gel fine liner completely, and later I just add a little bit of color to make it pop. But you can see, with just a fine liner you can make amazing letterings and get excellent results. So my recommendation for you, even before getting a brush pen, even before getting the most expensive pen you can find, get a fine liner. Not even a expensive one, get a cheap one and start lettering one letter at a time. You're gonna see that you're gonna improve, and you're gonna see that you gonna create great pieces. So my tip is get one fine liner. That's the only pen you're gonna need to make amazing letters. That's the only pen you're gonna need to start lettering and create great things. I hope you like this tip. If you think that was useful to you, just leave a comment and like this video. Thank you so much. Bye.